Let's count down 5 of my favorite comic book YouTube channels. Welcome back to Comics Are Dope. I'm BJ Kicks, and this is the start of a new series. I want to do something. We'll see how long we can keep it going, but I'm calling this Top 5 Fridays. So every Friday from now until I inevitably miss a Friday, I'm going to bring you a top 5 list, a list of 5 things, all comics related, that I am loving right now. And so I thought no better thing to start with than my favorite comic book YouTube channels right now. And I should tell you that this list is not in any way comprehensive. It's not even necessarily like a top 5 ranking. It's just the best way to put this is these are 5 channels that I watch and that I'm looking like, dang, there's an aspect of what they do that is better than whatever it is that I do on my channel in that way. And so if I'm smart, these are 5 channels that you will start seeing me do things like, in a way. 5 channels I aspire to be as great as in their respective fields. And so I'm going to start this list off at number 5 with the newest one to the bunch, and that is Kurt's Comic Review. My man Kurt Williams, like I said, is a relative newcomer. I first noticed him because he was commenting on some of my pull list videos. And so I went and started watching his reviews. And what I like about Kurt's channel, one, his videos are typically very succinct, like straight to the point, lots of jump cuts, lots of edits. Like, he's not here to keep you there all day. He just wants to get to the point and tell you whether or not a comic worked for him. And what I like about Kurt's, his reviews specifically, is I think Kurt has the language that a lot of us are missing. Like, we might call something cool or epic or dynamic or whatever it is, but Kurt is almost doing like comic book literary analysis. And as far as I understand, he's got a background in creative writing. I think he's got a degree in creative writing or literature, one of the two. And so because of that, he's well read in forms outside of comics, but he does also have pretty expansive comic knowledge. And so when a panel's not quite working for him, or if the art style's not quite working, when the dialogue's a little bit too verbose, he's quick to tell you, hey, this didn't work for me, and it didn't work for me because XYZ. And I really like the way he explains the things that he's not, that aren't working for him. Because like I said, I think when you have the right language, it can kind of be informative, a review. One thing I will say is I feel like Kurt is a bit hypercritical. Like, he's not quite like those I hate comics guys or anything like that, but you know the guys I'm talking about. But it's like, it almost feels nitpicky at times, some of his reviews. But again, I like that he has like the full language to use to explain why something works and why it doesn't work. A recent video he did that I liked was a where to start reading X-Men. And it was very simple. Like, hey, from the beginning of X-Men to right now, here are what I think are the best jumping in points, and a little bit about the era. And I was like, a very quick 10, 12-minute video about where to jump into X-Men. I think Kurt is doing a great job. And who knows how big YouTube comics reviewers are going to get in the next year or so. But I do think he's one to watch, if not for the growth of his channel, really just for the quality of the work he's doing. So shout out to you, Kurt, at number 5. At number 4, I think just might have the best pull list type video on the YouTube space. And this is Bruce and Stephanie Comics. Bruce and Stephanie are a married couple. Although as of late, we've been seeing a lot of Bruce, a lot less of Stephanie. But his weekly pull list video, along with the weekly FOC video, are both videos that like I have done or had, on the channel at different points. Like, the pull list is my longest running series. We go through it every Monday, and I enjoy doing it. What I like about Bruce's pull list videos is it's not just, hey, here's everything I'm buying. Bruce does sort of a nice cross between what I do, which is just, hey, here's what I'm buying and why I like it. And then also like what Comics with Bueller does, where Comics with Bueller is just showing you every book, every cover. Bruce has different categories. It's like, here are the cover lover buys. Here are the books that I'm buying really just for the cover. Here are the books that are on my list that aren't quite the most exciting to me, but I'm still buying them. And then here are the books that you just gotta grab this week if you don't grab anything else. And I really like Bruce's approach to sort of segmenting the pull list in that way. And might I add, the motion graphics are top tier. So Bruce and Stephanie Comics gets my number 4 spot on favorite YouTube channels right now. The third spot, the number 3, goes to my man Dominic from the Comic Book Report. Now, Dominic, you guys, if you've been watching me or if you hang out in my community tab, I try to shout out people that I think are doing a good job. And Dominic has no shortage of shout outs from me. But Dominic's channel, if you're not familiar, is called the Comic Book Report, and it's a mostly faceless channel. Dom likes to kind of show you the books and then give you a voiceover after he's filmed whatever he's filmed. He does a lot of like list videos, so like best Marvel stories for new readers or my top 5 Tom King books, things like that. But then he also does like just straight up overviews and reviews of both recent and past collected editions. And unlike me, he's not a snob. He's not afraid to sit down and read a trade paperback just to get the story and tell you whether or not it was good. What I really, really envy about Dom, outside of his awesome voice, right, is his ability to read stories quickly. That man ingests so many comic books. I have no idea how he does it. Like, I don't know. Where do you find the time, sir? Like, he's a family man just like I am. He makes me feel lazy, is the best way to put that. But if you're looking for someone, he's another one that has really good language to describe why he likes a certain thing. And I think because he reads so many types of stories, it helps in his understanding of how comics work, when things are going well, when things are not. And I love the fact that every time he reviews a book, he gives it a letter grade, just like a real book report. So nice stuff. And shout out to Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, because somehow Dominic is going to mention that tomorrow. With the number 2 spot, and again, I picked all of these people based on specific aspects of what they do that I really, really like and would love to try to replicate in some of my content. And one of the things that I've been trying to do as of late is to grow in my skills as an interviewer. And this channel is definitely at the top of the list for that skill specifically. And I'm talking about the Shortbox podcast. Shortbox, they call themselves a comic book talk show. The main host, Bader, is it Bader or Bader? Dang it. I remembered it and then I didn't. Either way, Bader from Jacksonville, Florida, is the sort of lead host of the Shortbox, the podcast. They did an interview recently with Jason Aaron that I think really highlights the type of interviewing skills that I would love to have. Like, one, they have an intense knowledge of the creators that they bring onto the show. So they're able to have a really real conversation about, hey, when you did this, I picked up on it and wanted to know, like, if you had more to say about that specific element. And I think that's always great. Like, know not only your interview subject, but if they're a creative, know some of the intentions behind the creativity that they've put out into the world. So they do a great job at that, like being well researched and knowledgeable and informative, but also entertaining and quick-witted enough to have conversations that can go off the rails for a little bit and then come back to the sort of relative balance point of the conversation. Really like it a lot. And yeah, man. Also, Batters hosted panels at Heroes Con, and that's something I want to do one day. So definitely somebody I'm looking up to in the space. So shout out to the Shortbox Comics podcast. Their presence on YouTube isn't crazy heavy, although their quality, the visual quality, is really good. I think they've just been audio first for such a long time that, you know, video has been kind of an afterthought, but definitely check them out. Really, really good stuff. And the number 1 spot on the list, the channel that I seem to envy the most right now, is the Comics Pals. Now, the Comics Pals is a panel of 4, sometimes 5 different YouTubers and streamers. Everything they do is live. And I think for that reason, they may not have the discoverability that other people do, like especially someone like me, if I'm doing like a omnibus unboxing or something like that. But what the Comics Pals has that I don't think a lot of other YouTubers have is the ability to be critical and to critique the not just the actual content of the comic books, but the business and sort of the hoopla around the comic book industry. They can offer a critique. It's not always glowing and it's not always scathing, but it is always honest without being like bashing, right? It's not like, I don't know. It's so hard to find a channel that can offer an honest critique of a thing without it, veering off into really weird, like political territory or like just rage baiting. Like it's almost righteous indignation baiting, right? But it's like, it's the conversations that Sean is able to lead on that podcast, along with Kale and is it Trevor? I shouldn't start naming people because I'm gonna miss out on names. Tony's one. Anyway, the Comics Pals, the conversations they're able to have are always insightful, always informative. I always feel like I came away with better understanding of whatever the subject was, and some of the obstacles to whatever the goal of the conversation is. Like, so one of the recent things they did was like, how do we tackle the problem of race in comics? And it wasn't just put black people on all the books. It's like, well, are these books supporting the market? Are these books like actually earning their keep? And if not, how do we fix that? What does that say about us as a hobby, as an industry? And I thought it was just a really insightful conversation. The Comics Pals is one of those shows that I find myself wishing I was on like super often. Like, it makes me wish that I was like 10 years younger with a whole lot more freedom and a few less responsibilities. Just a big time block on Saturday mornings. That's how it feels watching both the Comics Pals podcast on Saturday mornings and also Pals Pulls, where they review a few of the weekly comics that just came out the previous Wednesday. So if you are not watching the Comics Pals, if you are interested in sort of real time comic book commentary, especially if you're reading single issues, I think they are a great channel to watch. And they do creator interviews as well. So that's it. Those are not necessarily my top 5 comic book YouTube channels, but they are definitely the 5 channels I am most jealous of right now. Definitely check them out. Links to all their channels are in the description down below. And with that, I'm going to get back to enjoying my vacation. I will see you guys in another video real soon. Till then, stay safe, stay awesome, and read something dope today. Peace.